Hello everyone, welcome back to 308 Winchester Week, where we are testing several rifles. My friend Chase has come over with his rifles. Can you believe this guy has about, what, 7 or 8 308 Winchester rifles? I threw one of mine into the mix and we're testing them all just to see how effective they are. You know, the 308 Winchester has this reputation for being an incredibly accurate cartridge. I have always argued that it's not the cartridge, it's how precisely they load the ammunition and how precisely they build the rifles. But by testing this many rifles, I think we're going to get a pretty good idea of how consistently accurate a 308 Winchester can be. So the last time, if you missed that show, we did 3 rifles that were fairly heavyweight, more of a long range or a target style rifle that could be pressed into hunting duty, but the weights are up there around 8 to 10 pounds. Well, I guess we're going to be rolling with some lighter weight rifles. The first one up is the Ruger American. I already know it's a push feed 3-lug action.
Very good. So that's what it is. It's a weighs 6 pounds, 6 ounces, so it's relatively lightweight. It's got
Hang on a second. I'm not getting this thing. Ah, there we go.
There we go.
There are your 3 lugs. Pretty good sized extractor right in the face there.
Okay.
Okay. That's another one of those short bolt lifts.
Very nice. It's got we had 22-inch, but this is actually an 18-inch barrel. It's an 18-inch threaded barrel.
Yep.
So you can put a suppressor on there if you like.
Yep.
Then it's got it's an overall length of, well, we must need to subtract about 4 inches from, or did you measure that?
That's no, I measured it with, I thought it was a 22-inch barrel.
Okay, so we're looking at 38 inches head to tail. All right, that sounds right. And it's got an adjustable trigger between 3 and 5 pounds.
Well, it also has that little inset like the AccuTrigger and the Savage, where you push that out of the way before it can go off, so it's extra safe. I like that.
Nice.
See, I can pull on that and it won't go off, but there it does.
Yep, very good. It's a synthetic molded polymer stock. It's got a matte blued finish on that barrel, and then it's got a dropout magazine that holds 4 rounds.
And like that Browning again, that just good nylon. I think they're nylon, but
yeah, some kind of nylon polymer.
They are darned effective.
Yep. Then it's got you got a 2-position safety that's there on the tang.
That one opens too. So it's on safe, but the bolt will open and function. Yep.
And the list price on this, MSRP, is $709, but you can often, I think, find them for a little cheaper.
Yeah, that's sort of the starter rifle price.
Yeah, it's not bad.
And they've got a good reputation for accuracy. We'll see how this one holds up.
Yeah, I'm curious. That's one of the reasons we were curious about it. People say it's accurate for the price point.
Well, the ones I've worked with have been in the past. It has got a short barrel, and short barrels are often pretty darn accurate because there's less vibration in that shorter, stiffer barrel. And the Ruger American is, well, it's pretty well known for being quite an accurate rifle at its price point. And the price point of this is really pretty attractive. So we're going to just load up 3 rounds. We're shooting 150 grain Hornady American whitetail ammunition because I consider that pretty much a typical hunter's choice for deer hunting. And I think that's what a lot of 308s are used for. So out at 100 yards. All right, I am going to be shooting at the upper left target, dead center. I have a 9 power scope on here, so it's a little more challenging for precision. Well, I can't see any holes at 9X right now, but I'll just trust it. We're going for group anyway. As long as I'm somewhere on that paper, we should be able to tell how well it groups. I think I'm seeing some holes off to the right. I won't swear to it. Yeah, it looks like they're a little bit low and a little bit right, but I think we've got a nice cluster there. That's the 150 grain. Now for the target shooters, 165 to 168 grain bullets are often the best. And I'm gonna just single load this if I can. No, apparently I'm not gonna be able to do it very smoothly, so let's just fill that magazine. This is the match grade ammunition from Hornady, shooting the ELD match bullet. And if anything is supposed to be accurate and precise, it's this, or anything like it. But one thing I always say is that you never know what any particular rifle likes. I can see that one just a little bit high and a smidgen left. Not bad at all. Can I pile the rest of them in there? I haven't looked for that one yet. I'll give it a look while I let that barrel cool a smidgen. Boy, I think I see one maybe, I don't know, it looks like it might have landed lower and a little bit to the right, which would open that group up. But we will wait and see after this last shot. Not seeing it. We'll wait and see it later. So now we're going to switch to what I consider to be a good elk hunting load, moose, bear, 180 grain bullets. That's what most hunters of the bigger stuff want to be shooting. So we'll see how this little Ruger American rifle, with its synthetic stock and its short barrel, likes the 180s. Now, as you notice, it's got a threaded muzzle, which kind of is a standard anymore these days because so many people like to add a brake and or a suppressor. And that can change your accuracy too. I'm feeling a little more recoil in this than I was in some of the heavier rifles in our first pass, but that's to be expected with the lighter weight. I'm finding that there's a little bit of mush in the trigger. It seems a little bit soft until it breaks. Not a lot of creep, and it's certainly not rough, but it just seems like there's a little mush to it. Yeah, there it was again. Now, I am not seeing any of those holes. So I don't know if we're shooting high or right or left or what, but
Why don't I take a quick peek on this scope?
that'd be good.
Spotter.
Yeah, let me know how those landed.
Well, I see one group in the center that's just about 2 inches low and to the right, but a nice little 1 inch group, if not sub MOA.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
the first ones, the 150s.
Then I see a group up to the upper left. Which one was that?
Yeah, that was the 168.
So there's one, they were shooting a little high. So I see two. I see one on the target, one just above, probably only an inch away though. And then I don't see a third in here. So maybe that one
Maybe it went so high that it got off the paper completely, huh?
might be.
All right.
And the third group is high and to the right as well. Well, high straight on center, but just above the, just above the bullseye by about 2 inches. And I see at least two shots that are within an inch, and I can't tell if there's a third in there, but so maybe it's shooting a little high.
Should have probably used a bigger target then with that much. You just never know with these rifles how high they're going to shoot, but I like the lightweight of this one. What else have you got to shoot?
Well, next we've got this. I'll put this Ruger American Predator away, and I've got a Remington.
A Remington. Oh, I've hunted with a lot of Remingtons over the years.
Here we are.
Mr. Familiar.
So the Remington Model 700 SPS, and this has a push feed action with an extractor and a plunger ejector as well.
Yeah.
If I said all that right.
Yeah, a little hook extractor is set in the head. It's hard to see, but it's right there. It's been there for years on the 700s. This looks a little bigger than the original. They're getting a bigger bite out of that one.
All right.
And then there's your plunger ejector right there.
Very good.
This is the dual lug, by the way, and that's where you're going to get that little bit of a higher bolt lift. So
Gotcha.
there you can see it.
Yep.
It doesn't amount to a lot. I mean, you go from here to here, but it makes it easier to clear some of the new scopes that have a bigger
those
eyepiece on
larger.
it.
Yep.
Sometimes you get in trouble with those, so this one will handle it nicely.
I bet. Good. So this weighs in at 7.5 pounds. It's got a 20-inch barrel that's threaded. No, it's not threaded.
No, not threaded.
Forgive my notes here.
It's all right.
But it's got a heavy contour, floating barrel, and it's made of carbon steel.
Yeah, I think you might have gotten your information on a different model. I think they offer the heavy barrel. This looks like the sporter weight barrel.
Okay.
And it's not threaded, so that's probably what that was.
That makes sense to me.
It does. Anything else? What's the stock material?
So, stock material, it is Hogue overmolded, injection molded synthetic.
Yeah, that's that thing right here.
Yeah, so, that overmolded rubber grip feels nice.
Yeah, in the forend. It does give a real good tacky grip.
Yep.
But the bulk of the stock is just injection molded stuff.
Yep.
But I noticed it's not free floated. So
okay.
Some people or some manufacturers will completely bed the stock to the barrel.
Okay.
And the idea is you stiffen the barrel. Free floating the barrel, they like that because you're not interrupting the vibrations of the barrel. So potentially you could have better accuracy. Both systems work or don't work. It just depends on the individual rifle.
Okay.
But you can also always modify those. So we'll see how this one performs.
A few last bits. It's 39 3/4 inches head to tail.
Mm-hmm.
It's got an X Mark Pro adjustable trigger on it. It's got that satin black oxide finish on the barrel. Mm-hmm. And then it's got an internal hinged floor plate 4-round magazine, if you call it.
Oh yeah.
There we go.
Classic stuff. Been around forever.
And that has it also has a 2-position safety, and then it comes in at $950 MSRP.
Mm-hmm. And this does not lock down. So it's on, safe, but the bolt is not locked.
Gotcha.
Like it's fairly common.
Yep.
Okay. Any idea what the SPS stands for?
It's a fine question.
Special Purpose Shooter.
Okay.
I made that up.
Special Purpose Synthetic.
Say what?
Special Purpose Synthetic.
Special Purpose Synthetic.
You weren't far off.
Woohoo! We now have the answer, folks. I wonder what the special purpose is. Wasn't there a movie about a guy who had a special purpose? I think there was. All right, the first special purpose is to get the magazine to feed right. I think I had the nose down a little bit on that. Some magazines are like that. Ooh, yeah, I got to do a little work on this. Get that my crosshair sharp. Diopter, beautiful. Oh, there we go. There's a target. I'm just going to slide over to the next big target on the right. And the magnification on this guy's clear up to 12. Looks good. All right. Now let's shove that safety off and see what Mr. Remington can do for us. There's some creep in that trigger. Looks like I down center at the yellow diamond right at the tip at the bottom. All right. Right there, right there. Looking good so far, Mr. Remington. Oliphant Remington. Now, a little bit of trouble there on feeding. That might work out with a little action over time, but something to be a little concerned about. Oh, I don't know. That I've either got, no, I'm seeing a hole now that the heat shimmer is clearing. I think it jumped up about an inch, inch and a quarter. But the first two were just right there. Those are the 150s. Yeah, I'm getting just a little bit of a glitch in the feeding on here. I'm gonna just snoop around and see what's going on. Make sure I get my rounds all the way back. Sometimes the guy gets them tipped in there with the nose catching. Now these are seated all the way out. That bullet is almost touching the front of the magazine well. And that might be my issue. They're moving up and down fine. Just a little rough coming up. Maybe the feed lips that need to be polished a bit. Okay, where was that last group? Right in the center. Let's go to the upper left diamond. I am going to aim at the bottom point of the yellow lines, just in case this one shoots high like that other one. And it did not. It's just a little bit high above my aiming point. And a little bit left. That one fed nicely. Yeah, about an inch. There's that glitch again, just a little bit of a stick in there. Boy, that was right on my point of aim. Oh, too bad. Jumped almost 2 inches to the right. Oh, that's too bad. Wouldn't have been bad, but that one just jumped out wildly. It's disappointing. Let's see what the 180s will do. And once again, I'm going to take care here. Now, these bullets are not seated out as far. Overall length of this cartridge is not as much as the other, but that's kind of typical for a match grade versus a hunting load. So let's see what it thinks about 180 grain bullets. Yeah, barrel's warm but not hot. Same thing, I'm going to aim for the upper right little diamond, go for the lower point. And I do not see a hole anywhere, unless I leaped off to the right. Well, I hope the next one shows up. I'd hate to shoot 3 shots and not even know where they're landing. Gee, I don't see that either. I hope I'm not shooting completely over the target. It's really interesting how some loads will shoot so much differently and land in a different location, even at 100 yards. Folks seem to think that anything they shoot should pretty much hit where they're aiming at 100 yards once they're zeroed. Not the case. Now that one's right where it's supposed to be, by golly. So maybe they're all right in there and I'm just not seeing them. Hey, Chase.
Yes.
Can you take a hankering at that? See where the group landed on there?
I sure will.
On that big lens?
We're on the upper right target. Okay, I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They're all on target.
Yeah?
Yep.
Cool.
So your center target, you've got about a 2-inch, I'd say.
Yeah.
A group, maybe a little under.
That was 150 grain.
Up and to the left, you had 2 that were within an inch of one another, and then you had 1 that flew off to the right a bit.
Yeah, I saw that.
And then the upper right, that was the 180 grain.
Yes.
Those all shot low, almost in a straight horizontal line, but you know, there's a 3-inch spread between they're all 1 inch apart, more or less, 1.5.
Okay.
Right in a row.
So really not super accurate with any of them, huh?
Doesn't look like it.
Okay, what's our next
All right.
sample rifle?
Yeah, all the way from Finland, we've got the Tikka T3x light stainless, as you said. Now this is the one I hunted with last year and I really liked it. It's a lightweight rifle. It only weighs 6.4 pounds.
Yeah, that's pretty light.
It's got a push feed action, 2 lugs, spring-loaded hook extractor, and then a plunger ejector also.
Yep.
Sound about right?
Does. It's got the little bit higher bolt lift, but for a 2 lug, it's not going way up. Maybe it's the way they have got their bolt handle on there, but it's not coming up and anywhere near hitting the scope.
You bet.
So lots of clearance there.
Well, and if I'm not wrong, I think one of the reasons this is such a popular rifle is because of that smooth action. People talk about that all over on the internet.
Yeah, I can see that. I can feel that.
Then we've got it's got a 22.4 inch long barrel that's floating, and it's made of, this one's the stainless version. They got all kinds of variations of it.
Okay. Now I noticed the bolt does lock down on this one.
Okay.
Yep, I have 2-position safety, but when I have it on safe, bolt's locked.
Excellent.
Forward, bingo. I like it.
Very good. It's 42.5 inches head to tail, and it's got an adjustable trigger pull. We're not quite sure what that is on it. We'll have to test and see.
You know, most of those adjustable triggers are going somewhere between that 2 to 5 pound range, 2 to 4, something like that. And most of the factories will ship them out at 3.
Okay.
Which I think is just excellent for hunting.
Sure.
You've got gloves on, you're excited, it's cold, you just don't want a really super light one. But
yeah,
you can always adjust it to what you like.
Very good. Yep, then there's that detachable 3-round magazine you pulled out, and I think that about covers it. The list price is $1,789, but we got it for quite a bit less than that, you know, and I kind of
see them on sale a lot.
Yeah, I think I bought that one for around $900.
Well, it looks like the barrel is floated on this one, so yeah, I would say that's a floating barrel system.
Okay,
we'll see how it shoots.
all right.
I have to admit, I have never worked with one. Got the drop-out magazine. A little bit heavier than the other two, but it's got a longer barrel. All right, what are you betting on here? Chase, you think this got to be the winner?
I'm hoping that's the one that proves consistent. That's the one I hunted with last year, and I liked it just fine. It's a little more expensive than these others, but I think it's a solid option.
You think it's a justified expense, do you?
I think so.
Well, we'll find out. Lower left target, dead center. I had pulled it just a smidgen. That trigger caught me by a little too much surprise.
Okay.
So we might blame that one on me if it's not where it's supposed to be. It's high and to the right, so it might be me pulling it. Let's see what these others do. That was good. Well, it's just close to the first one. We're doing okay. So I mustn't have pulled it off that badly, if at all. About a 1-inch group. Not bad, 150 grain. Let's see what it thinks about match grade ammo. Now that scope, I'm not crazy about the reticle in that. Too busy?
Same, honestly, yeah. I struggled a bit last year to just get it up and
it's
dialed in right
scope.
away. And
target, one thing, but even on targets,
a little much for hunting, I think.
Yeah, but even on targets, I'm having trouble because there's just so many lines and then so many lines on the target itself. If the target were clean, it wouldn't be as bad, but boy, it's easy to miss the center. An illuminated dial would really help. Just the center dot. Yeah, it's tough. I have to really concentrate to see that little fine dot in the center and get it on the center of the bull. Okay, I made a mistake and went for the right upper diamond first. So we'll have to correct that. There it was. Yeah, it just takes me a while to find it. Those two are touching. A little bit low, dropped it down to about 1 inch. Okay, that was, let's see, those were the 168. Now we'll go to the big guys. As you can see, Chase, I usually like to catch my brass, but sometimes I don't. But I'm an inveterate hand loader, so I'm always saving my brass.
Yeah.
And I hate to throw it on the ground.
Just adds another step to the process, I imagine.
Yeah, but really when one is testing a rifle for complete function, you need to do it just to see how well it ejects. You don't want weak ejection, especially in a hunting rifle. Now I'm going to aim at the, that's already got those first holes pretty close to it, so I'm going to go down and aim at one of the bottom little targets. Yeah, it's right there. A little bit left. Elevation was nice. Seeing the dot a lot better on that one. Don't know exactly why. Don't see that last bullet hole, but the first two are about 3/4 of an inch apart, it looks like. Okay, come here and tell me what you want to know about these buggers.
Well, people love the action on this, and I thought it was pretty smooth too. But how does it shoot?
Well, we're going to have to take a look at the targets, but I don't think it's shooting as well as some of the target rifles yesterday. I don't think any of them here today did.
Interesting.
Yesterday's groups were something else.
Yeah.
But boy, it's going to suffice for hunting. I think we've got ourselves at least 1/2 inch group out there and a couple of inch, maybe 1.25 inch. I think it's got a lot of potential. That last 180 grain load, I can't quite see the third bullet. Going to be down in the grass a little bit. And I did shoot through just a blade of grass that, yeah, usually a little blade of flimsy grass like that doesn't make it.
Okay.
A lot of people think you hit one little blade of grass and it screws everything up.
Yeah.
No. And it's way down there too. It'd be one thing if it were close and in front and it might move that bullet a little bit, but big bullet like that ought to be plowing right through. So I don't think we can use it for an excuse, but if you need one.
Depends on what you came in liking already, right?
Yeah. Oh, I see that other hole. So that looks like about 1.25 inch group too. It looks left and right, it moved just a little bit.
Okay.
So yeah, good potential. And I can see why folks like this thing. It's a good slick action. It's got no wobble to the bolt. It just slides beautifully. And the trigger, pretty good.
Good.
Yeah, pretty good outfit. Free floating barrel. Yeah, I think I might have to buy a winner out of this batch. But let's just go over it. Bring those other ones over here and let's talk about them. You know, those groups, some of those are better than I thought they were going to be.
Yeah, same.
Now, see if I can remember what I was shooting at. There's so many targets here, but this was the Remington?
That's the Ruger American
the Ruger.
Predator, yep.
That is a good little group right there.
It is.
That's the 150s. These were the one, look at how high I got.
Yeah,
168s.
We thought we were shooting over, but you were.
Yeah, that's
a good group though. They're all three right there.
And then this one was really high too, almost off the top of this old paper in the background here, but that's not really all that bad a group. That's just about 1.25 inches or so. Great hunting group on that one. And then this was this the Remington?
That's the Remington, yeah.
So my first group must have been what? 1, 2, 3.
Yep, those are them.
And then
that's
1,
decent.
2, 3 here with the 168s, not so great. And 1, 2, 3 across there.
Yeah.
It's not as good as I'd like. Now this is pretty nice little sub MOA group right here, 3 shots. That was the 150s, and then I think I made the mistake of shooting this instead of this one.
Yep.
So this is the 168s.
Still not bad.
A little wider, a little more than probably 1 1/8 inch group.
Yeah.
And then same with this one, maybe 1 1/8 inch. So hey, they all show potential for some pretty good accuracy.
Well, that Tikka and the Ruger definitely seem to be pretty consistent.
Yeah. And this is why I felt for the Tikka.
Yeah.
I saw that group, but hey, there's nothing wrong with that group either.
Yeah. Even I've managed to shoot 1 or 2 groups like that, and that's saying something.
All right, here our 3 contenders are the Ruger American, which is a real popular low budget price rifle that is surprisingly accurate and works pretty darn well in its price point. Nice slick bolt on it. I like that. I like the weight and the balance. I would like a little bit longer barrel for my hunting rifles, but boy, if you're going to run with a suppressor, this is the right length.
And I think that's kind of the angle they have on the Predator version. This Predator version, you got the threaded muzzle, and you got a Picatinny rail that comes on it. It saves you a little money.
Yeah, that's kind of handy.
Yep.
A lot of guys like that. It's easier to mount your scope than have to go fussing around with finding the right bases and stuff.
It definitely goes a little quicker than others.
Yeah. And the other thing I like about it is even though it's got a short barrel, the balance seems to be about right here.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty close. And just throwing it up, it's pretty much right there. I would have to readjust the scope because I'm coming in a little bit too much on it. But it looks like it'd be a handy little woods rifle.
Yeah.
And I could see it working out in longer ranges, no problem, but got a lot of potential. And then
This is the Remington 700 SPS, which we figured out meant special purpose synthetic.
And the barrel length on this, was it 24 or just 22?
I believe that was a 22-inch barrel.
Yeah, 22 sounds right. You know, it feels like a classic model 700 Remington. I've had many over the years, and they've got a reputation for being wonderfully accurate, except in some years they got a little bit sloppy and they were having some problems. The company went under. New investors bought the name and they start manufacturing them again, and I think this is one of their efforts. And it's an improvement over some of the last of the ones that were coming off the line in the old days. But it's a starter rifle pricing, and this one was what?
I think list price is somewhere around the $900 range, but I found it cheaper than that.
Okay, so yeah, it was a little rough picking up some rounds. It's feeling smooth right now without the round in the magazine, but it wasn't all that accurate. I was a little disappointed in that. Now that might be because this barrel is not free floated, and if you get a rifle like this, you can sandpaper that barrel out and float it yourself. You can do all sorts of bedding tricks with them, and I've done that over the years, and I've made some rifles that weren't shooting into some pretty effective shooters. So that wouldn't necessarily scare me off, but I would have liked for it to have shot a little bit better. Yeah, that's pretty. And the flexible stock there, I think I would try to free float that or fully glass bed it.
Sure.
But it's got potential. It wasn't that bad. I mean, it's got plenty good accuracy for most hunting out to, I'd say, 300 yards.
Okay.
And then our last one, I think, is going to be your winner, the Tikka. Now, this one does not feel as good to me as either of the other two.
Okay.
That's me. I mean, everybody's a little different on that.
In what way do you mean? How do you mean?
I don't know. It just, is it the stock configuration? It seems a little bit sharp on the edges right here. For my hand size, that could just simply be because I've got smallish hands. Put your hand up there once. What have you got for a hand?
A little bit longer fingers.
Yeah, a little bit longer fingers and stuff. So
skinny, though.
Could make a difference for you. I don't think it's too fat in the foreend. I've never liked fat foreends, but it just seems like right in here, it's just feeling, I think it's because they sort of went for a compromise on the flat belly target rifle thing versus drowned it all the way, which if you're shooting off of something like this helps. You got a flatter surface and it matches up better. And I'm not saying I couldn't hunt with it or wouldn't hunt with it, but I'm just not in love.
Okay.
Yeah. But it's sure you got the accuracy game winning here.
Sure.
If I remember right, this one shot the most accurately of the bunch. So, okay, I'm gonna pick the Tikka out of this bunch.
Okay. Well, I think I'd probably do the same. I did enjoy hunting with it last year. I do think I'd switch out to a different scope for the next time, but smooth rifle.
Yeah, and it's got that South Sea Islands name, Tikka.
Yeah.
Well, enough said about the Tikka. I mean, I think you've already figured out I am going to pick this one, despite that little bit clunkier of a feel. I love the feel of the Ruger the best. It's just sprightly, you know, and I like that in a hunting woods. But this guy's going to be a little more accurate, a little more reach, perhaps, and I'm going to have to go with your Tikka.
Yeah, well, I really loved hunting with it last year. It did good for me. I would choose a different scope next time I take it out for this particular setup, but, you know, I think it's a straight shooter, and it's kind of a safe choice, honestly. There's a lot of alternatives out there, and people seem to love this gun. Yeah,
I can understand why. Well, folks, as you can see, we have just concluded our second episode of 308 Winchester Week, in which we are testing quite a few rifles that Chase brought over. I've never known a man who had more 308 Winchester rifles than this guy. And he is trying to figure out which one is going to be his favorite. I'm going to figure out which one is going to be my favorite. You can figure out maybe which one's going to be your favorite. But right now, we've gone over the target style rifles, a little more of a target style rifle, and they were wonderfully accurate. Now we've got more of your traditional hunting style rifles here. What's coming up on the next episode? So on the next episode, we've got three, I'm pretty sure our favorites are going to be in this group. This is the higher end mountain rifle. So we've got one from Browning. We've got one from Springfield's 2020 Waypoint. That's right. That's a popular rifle. And then the one that I think you're already coming in hot with, and that's, do you want to say? Yeah. I threw one into the mix here because it's one of my favorites. We'll see how it holds up on the accuracy test. But it's kind of new. It's the Nula 20, the model Nula 20 from Wilson Combat. This rifle goes way back to 1988. I'll give you a little history on this. It's really quite amazing. I've got a lot of history with this rifle, but it's under new manufacturing, and boy, it looks like they're doing a wonderful job with it. So stay tuned. Next episode, lightweight mountain style hunting rifles, my favorite.
And if you want to get some more information on these more budget-friendly hunting rifles that all performed quite well today, we have a detailed article at outdoorempire.com you can go check out. We should have more information for you there. We also have a YouTube channel ourselves. We don't do the gun stuff. I'm not an expert like Ron, but if you're interested in camping gear and coolers and things like that, you can see that over there.
Well, cool. Hey, this is Ron Spomer. Chase, I want to thank you again for bringing all those rifles over. And
hey, it's a pleasure.
Well,
Thanks for shooting them.
Yeah, it's a treat for me to get to shoot a lot more rifles. Obviously, none of us can afford to have every rifle out there.
Yeah, of course not.
So share with your friends, and you learn a lot and discover which rifles really work well for you. A lot of times you go shooting with your buddy and you find out you need to sell your rifle and buy one like his.
You bet. Yeah. Yeah.
So 3 more rifles next time. Stay tuned. 308 Winchester Week continues on Ron Spomer Outdoors. Hunt honest and shoot straight.